So go back to where you came from. Lit that. Later, bitch. You're fucking trash, kid. See you, dude. You're fucking bad! You're bad! You are trash!
If you don't know, the early era of video games had the old stuff like Pong and whatever this is. And video games now are held up to a much higher standards, such as GTA 6 on the new push out. Basically, every AAA title kind of follows the same kind of lead, graphically and mechanically. Everything needs a story, and if it doesn't really have a story, then for some reason, people just lose interest. But there was a time where we didn't care for stories. We didn't care for quality. We didn't care for mechanic. We just cared for fun. And that is where Flash games came into play. If you have no clue what Flash is, Flash was a tool made by Adobe, and it was a software where you could animate and make your own games. Flash was so ahead of its time. I have no clue why they stopped using it, because it was honestly such a foundation for the internet at one point in the internet's lifespan. Flash animations back in the day were one of the top things to watch. Flash games were back in the day one of the best things to ever play. But above all, Flash games really held the trophy for why Flash was as popular as it truly was. Like, I remember one of the first games I got introduced to was a game called Riddle School. The gameplay itself wasn't even that fun. It was just so entertaining to me as a child, and it even entertained adults at a point. The whole premise of the game is literally you escape a school. That's it. All you have to do is just go around the school, picking up random things here and there, combine them with other items, use those items on things around the map that you're in, and that was it. There was no WASD. It was just strictly point and click. All you have to do was click something in your inventory and then click on it on the screen, and it combined things. I think one of the more fun things about this game was how witty some of the commentary was, despite the fact the game was made in 2006 and the guy who made it was literally 11 at the time. In fact, speedruns of this game literally ran, I think, under a minute in some cases. Like, people used to just speedrun this fucking game. Like, I remember younger me used to play this game all the fucking time. Like, I'd be in school and playing this game, fantasizing about escaping school. This shit had me feeling like I was Michael Schofield, like my friend was Lincoln Burrows or something.
Getting outside these walls. It's just the beginning.
Actually, I do have one memory when I was in that primary school, which is elementary school for all of you Americans out there. And I remember playing this game on the laptops because we had to get laptops every so often to do whatever. And just like every childhood game developer has ever had, this guy has a pretty dark backstory. And you probably can tell where this is gonna go. Yeah, he's now a fucking pedo. He likes kids, bro. He had a relationship with someone who was a minor and said he had to get therapy for it afterwards. But you see, that game was a point and click one. Not many games required you to use keyboard, but the ones that did were very memorable. For example, Fancy Pants. And to those of you that do not know what I'm talking about, Fancy Pants was like Flash's very own Mario. Literally, the spiders were Goombas, the snails was Koopas. It was an insane game to play. Pretty much, you could run, jump, slide through like these colorful ass like worlds and shit. And I remember jumping and doing parkour and all this shit. It felt so good because I genuinely felt like I was moving like Spider-Man in his damn prime at the time. This genuinely felt like some anime stickman game. Look at Fancy Pants. All this boy needs is just bit of hair, baggy jeans, and he's got more order than any of them Call of Duty characters combined. And I can't ignore the way this boy used to whoop ass. This boy's whooping on goofy enemies with straight haymakers and headbutts. Like, this boy had you feel like you were Spider-Verse Miles Morales, you know what I'm saying? Like, the minute you started running around and shit, you was not playing no more, brother. You was speed running in your head type shit. And plus, all that hand-drawn notebook vibe it had, it was like someone in math class said, you know what? I'm gonna build a whole universe. And that shit worked, though. And I remember this shit made it out of the Flash game era and made its ass onto console with Super Fancy Pants Adventure. That was dead like seeing your homie make it out of the hood and say, you know what, brother, I'm leveling up in the world. Fancy Pants made it. It was like officially fucking certified. It was no longer like a random game you just seen on Newgrounds. It was the game of Newgrounds. It made it out of the random internet obscure game lore, and it got its ass all the way onto consoles, and it made itself a fucking sensation. Fancy Pants made it. Fancy Pants had a good ending. Not every Flash game gets that privilege, and Fancy Pants is one of the ones that got that. Now I say it's one of the ones because it wasn't the only one, because one of the other ones was the Henry Stickmin franchise. If you know anything right now, you will know that Henry Stickmin is quite big and popular, and you might notably remember Infiltrating the Airship or one of those ones. But if you were around the old internet, you will know that there were only 3 games at the time. We had Escaping the Prison, Breaking the Bank, and stealing the diamond. This brother Henry was on straight criminal activity. This boy was catching RICO charges, man. He was breaking banks, dipping out of prison, stealing diamonds. This boy had no other future apart from criminal activities.
Yo, cheating, nigga.
The only one I'm really going to speak about a lot here is just escaping the prison, just because that's the one I know at the back of my hand. So if you don't know, it was another Stickman game similar to Fancy Pants, and it followed the format of witty commentary and all types of shit. Like, this game had voice acting. That's how bougie this shit was. So I don't know much of the timeline of the games anymore, but I know that breaking the bank led into escaping the prison, because he's in the prison because he tried to break into the bank. You'd be put into scenarios and you'd have to pick different types of things to do. For example, the first part of escaping the prison is you get a cake, you put your hand in, and you get to pick what item comes out of the cake. There's 6 items and each of them do different shit. Energy drink has you walking through the prison until you have a heart attack at the end and die. And you can use the file. It can help you get out, or if you pick the winner like a fucking idiot, you fall out the window and you fall to your death. But one of the hardest things was you could pick the file, get out the cell, and you could go through normally. If you pick all the right choices, you can get into this standoff situation with all the different officers, and they will pop at you. You have to click this little button right here quick enough, and if so, you're kind of with this Matrix ass slow-mo scenario. Catch a bullet in midair and throw it back to one of the other feds. I'm excited just talking about it. I feel like a fucking kid again. I'm excited just talking about this because this shit was the latest fucking thing. The music was all hitting. This man was just walking outside the door because none of the feds wanted to shoot him because he was scared of this motherfucker. And he just walked his ass out the prison, got a police car, hit the devious lick, and he just fucking leaves. But it was games like these and games like all the ones I mentioned that really had me going back on Newgrounds. These were the games that you'd play in school and you'd look over your shoulder the whole time thinking, oh shit, the teacher looking? Oh shit, is the teacher looking? And you know that if you played any of these games, there was always that one little dickhead in your class that would look at the teacher and say, yo, miss, this bitch playing a game in class right now, and he'd snitch on the whole operation. This motherfucker was the one everybody hated. Point is, Flash games were an absolutely goated thing back in the day, and we appreciate them for everything they did for us. Speaking of appreciation, I'd appreciate if everybody could hit the like button right now. It means so much. And chat, we're on the way to 200 subs, so if everybody could subscribe right now, it would also mean so much. And I'll see you all soon. Take care and peace.